Okay, I'm making this video with my dogs chewing on a mouse to let you know that I'm going to need several new computers in the future. And this one you sent me is a piece of junk. There's something wrong with it. I'm going to package it back up and I'm going to ship it back to you. Because I paid for a new computer to be in a working, unfreezing condition, and it froze over 100 times during 15 hours of intensive laborious testing over and over and over. You installed the hard drive in the bottom of the bay and pulled it down so tight that it cracked the little plastic thing right there. That's cracked. There it is. Okay, you can't force the power supply and all that stuff in the bottom. So I'm going to send this computer back to you. You can use any and all the parts that you want, but I'm going to switch from AMD to Intel because I've had way better luck with Intel. So whatever parts you can use out of this in my new build, that's fine. But you must, and I mean you must, test it. You've got to put an operating system on it, throw Chrome and Firefox and 7-Zip and FileZilla and run some updates. And make sure the thing doesn't freeze and hang like this piece of garbage does. This thing has got serious problems. And then you ship me the new one back. And then over the next year, I'm not kidding you, I'm going to need 4 new computers at least. And they're going to need to be as good as some of your best ones. I built this computer about 7 years ago. I've got about 3 grand into it. And I keep upgrading parts in it, but it's starting to get old. And I put every single computer I own on a battery backup with surge protection built in. Okay. I built this computer about 10 years ago. It needs to be upgraded. It's my daughter's, and she's going to need a new computer soon. I do video, photography, graphic design stuff, and I have to have strong, fast computers for processing video. This computer is, I've got about 4 grand into it, and it's also about 7 years old. It's starting to make some kind of a high-pitched whining sound, is why I have the towel on it. You guys, we found you online about 6 years ago, and you guys built me this computer. And you charged us $4,000 for it, and it was one of the best, biggest, baddest computers that you would build. And I've absolutely loved it. But I didn't have it hooked up to a good surge protector with a battery backup, and I fried the motherboard and processor, and you guys tried to help me fix it, blah, blah, blah. So I put a new motherboard and processor in it myself, and it's been running on the new motherboard and processor for about 5 years. All computers have little weird problems, but as long as I can get my work done, I'm fine with it. So that's it in a nutshell. I'm going to send that thing back to you. We're going to switch to Intel. And I'm going to need several more computers in the near future. Okay, this is the 5th time I've tried to install Windows 10, different versions each time for testing purposes to make sure I'm not making mistakes or there's something wrong with that version. This current version I have on this computer I've installed about 100 times, and it's the version for Microsoft that's fully updated to April. And This computer has gotten through a process, updates, installing, whatever. And this is the computer. Just bought it. And it freezes. Gets to a point and it just freezes and hangs. So I'm moving the mouse around, nothing happening. Can't open anything. Control-Delete does not work. Control-Delete does nothing. This computer's been frozen like this. I let it set overnight just to see if it would come back, and it never has. And I don't have the new equipment to replace the parts inside there. So this computer is frozen again, and it's frozen about 30 times each time I've installed a new operating system at all of the same places when I'm updating. I tried to change this little icon from the wide one to this. It caused the computer to freeze. I installed Chrome yesterday on the previous build. It got halfway through and froze. I installed Office last night on the previous build, and it got 2/3 of the way through and completely froze. So it just freezes on all kinds of different things. So I'm going to put a hard drive in this thing that I know works and see what happens. I've already spent about 10 hours on this, and we don't have a computer that works yet, so kind of a bummer. Wish you guys would have tested this. At least put an operating system on it, make sure it works, and then delete the operating system. You know, you said on your website, you said you'd test them for 48 hours. Well, why didn't you put an operating system on it? Because you just caused me a bunch of wasted time. One thing I think you guys might have done wrong is you bolted this hard drive down to the bottom, and the plug-in, the power cord, is in there so hard I can't even get it out, and it's bent way up. So this hard drive is probably ruined because you forced it. Somebody forced this in. You should never force this in that tight like that. That's way too tight. I've built 2,500 computers in the past 15 years, and that's way too much of a bend on that power cord. Probably ruined the hard drive. Okay, so I just pulled the hard drive out, and it's cracked right there, okay, from somebody forcing this in and bolting it to the bottom. These are just plastic. You should never force them in like that. Maybe that part might be aluminum, but that's all plastic. You shouldn't force them in like that. You probably ruined the drive. Okay, with a completely different hard drive in here, it's frozen and hung at this same spot with 3 different versions of the Windows operating system. There's some weird, freaky anomaly going on. I'm wiggling the mouse. It's not moving. Computer's completely frozen. Control-Delete does nothing. So this computer's got some serious problems somewhere. 30 minutes later, actually about 45 minutes later, still sitting here, frozen in time. It's what it's done about 100 times now. So this computer has some other problems. I didn't pay $1,300 to have this happen. Please test better next time. Okay, it's hung at this spot many times, and here it is. It's been sitting here for about 20 minutes like this. With a new hard drive that I put in it, that I've used in several other computers a few times over the past few months just for testing, and it's always worked perfect in all the other computers. It's hung here. It's done this several times, so unfortunately it looks like there's more problems with this computer than just the hard drive, which is a bummer because I've wasted tons of time on this. Okay, I am installing Windows 10 Pro for the 5th time. I have formatted and tried to reinstall. This is now the 5th time. I've never had a computer in the past almost 2 years now that has failed over and over and over and frozen over and over and over every single time I try to install anything. Even so much as Google Chrome, Microsoft Office. When I tried to do the Windows updates, it froze 5 times on the build, on the install number 4 that I did. 5 times. The only way to recover was to do a hard reboot and try to load Windows. So this is actually an improvement. It's never gotten to here without freezing 5 times in a row, 4 times in a row. So we will see what happens. Okay, I just installed version Windows 10 Pro with fully updated to April 2018. And I've installed this version on about 50 computers. And this is the only computer that I've ever experienced this, where it just absolutely, it freezes over and over and over. Okay? Computer's frozen. I'm moving the mouse. Nothing. Okay? This computer is the worst pile of garbage I have ever had the displeasure of purchasing in my entire life. Never once have I seen a computer that freezes so many times in 15 years. Okay, I'm going to hit Control Delete. Nothing. Fails, does not work. This is a lemon pile of garbage, piece of junk computer.